सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इंद्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। So, videos on?
Yes.
For the first few minutes.
Before I start, I would like to welcome Emily Vijayani.
Yeah.
She's a new member. Emily, you want to introduce yourself first? Emily, do you hear me?
Hey, sorry, the Wi-Fi is not very good.
No problem.
Let me try like this.
That's okay. Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
Others, kindly put on your videos. We decided that the first 10 minutes we would like to chat, discuss a few things, and then proceed with the class. Welcome, Dr. Papneja, after a long time.
Yes, I missed a couple of classes, but otherwise I do join. I don't show myself.
Yeah, no, but I think last time we decided that a few minutes of interaction before we start the class.
Okay.
Others, still there are. Okay, Emily has already said her connections are slow. There are a few more. Yes. Then Rani, Sethi, RP. Can you please put on your video? Two more videos are to be put on. Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Okay. So I have a question, and let me see how you view it. So when it is said in the Bhagavad Gita at multiple places, in multiple shlokas, performing actions without attachment, doing things without attachment. So what does it mean? What does the phrase without attachment means?
Not look for results.
Not look for results.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, that could be one answer. We will look into it. There is some problem in this answer, but let me hear from others. Without attachment.
Like not taking things personally, I guess I would say.
Okay, not taking things personally. A little closer than what Mr. Mathai said, somewhat in that direction. Then, what else? Without attachment. Firstly, is it possible?
So Acharya, so
Yeah.
like having more equipoise, more stable mind,
Mm-hmm.
no emotional attachments.
Can you give some example?
I was not ready for it. Okay.
Yeah. Is it possible in real life?
With practice, yes. You have to pay more attention to how you're reacting.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of having instantly reacting to a particular situation, if you
Right.
are able to just give it a pause, and then though it is very difficult in real life, and that in real time it's a little difficult situation. I mean, condition to practice, but because we are more conditioned to reacting at instantaneously. But
Right.
then over time, when this you keep hearing what you have to, I mean, what is it that we have to do over a period of time, you get to that knowledge kind of sinks in, and then
Right.
you start to have a little more take a little more time in reacting to situations. So that way you're able to control your reactions and maintain a little more equipoise.
Okay. Yeah, in some cases, what you said is true, but it looks like you are making it appear a very hard thing. It is like a very difficult thing, and a lot of practice and a lot of things are required. But is it that difficult, or is it that rare a phenomena which we see in life?
But then it's over. Like, what we have as that doesn't come automatically. It has to be something that has to be cultivated. There has to be a little more conscious effort on our part to
Right.
make that to make the distinction distinguish how I would react in a particular situation.
Okay. Fine. I have this explanation, something in the chat. I should explain to my dad. So ideas in the organization. So,
Yeah, just
okay, fine.
Emily introduced
Yeah,
herself.
yeah. Okay. Anyone else? Dr. Papneja, would you like to say something?
I guess it's a result, both the results, positive, negative, you accept gracefully, That's,
Yeah.
then it can be without attachment.
Yeah.
Like Sarah was saying, don't take personally. Or
Yeah.
Emily said, right? It's a similar thing where
Right.
both the results are good. Basically, anytime if results are bad, you feel sad, but that time should be not more than 5 minutes. That
Right.
is just to acknowledge that, yes, results were not what you anticipated. And then you look at the solving the problem again.
True.
So the mind is focused on solving the puzzles.
Yeah. Rather than looking at getting into the problem. Instead of that, the focus is on the solution rather than the problem.
Right. If you don't label it as a failure, then you will not be upset with it.
True. It's an outcome.
Right. So
Yeah.
anything you do, you say it's a range of outcome up and down. So
Right.
that's the range. So you're within the range always, so you're not upset.
True. See,
It's like
any surgeon performing a surgery, well, there is a success rate, there is a failure rate. It's not possible that 100% of the times what he or she expected, the outcome will be like that. And they are focused in their work. What needs to be done, that is to be done. And that's how you perform it unattached. You are a firefighting person, okay, trying to rescue a person from a building, okay, with fire. There are chances you may be successful. There are chances you may not be. You have to come back. You have to return back. So yes, it will affect you a bit that you couldn't save a person. But then that's how it is. You tried your best. Yes.
So that comes only with, a lot of experience, with a lot of thought putting to it. It doesn't come automatically.
Yeah. In most of us, it doesn't come automatically. That is true. But in some of us who are focused on their work, okay, just focused on the solution. Maybe that is a training, or sometimes it could be even genetic. For such a person, it becomes easy. Just cut off from other things and just focused on it. Maybe it's rearing. During the rearing of a child, I think it can get inculcated that you failed in a subject. Okay, then what next you should do? You can keep crying about it, or you say, I will improve it, and then the next exam, definitely I'll make sure that I perform better than the last time. And that becomes the second nature.
I have a question,
Yeah.
if that's okay. So when we're saying, so I hear you saying that focus on the action, the like doing without focusing on the result or the outcome. Is that right? Is that what you're saying?
Wait.
Similar?
We do focus on the outcome.
Okay.
Listen. Here
Okay.
is a catch. Here is a catch. If you could recall what Dr. Papani just said, the outcome will be within a range.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Say I wanted to earn. Say I'm a freelancer. Okay. So I wanted to earn $100 in this month. Okay, this is my goal. But I also know the range could be $50 to $150. So I do have certain goals. I do want to hit 100, but I also know that it could be 50 in the worst case scenario, or it could even touch 150. So I'm prepared for both the things, yet my focus is 100. Even when I am launching a satellite, it's such a risky affair. The rockets sometimes fail.
Mm-hmm.
There are hundreds and hundreds of variables which can, and any one mistake or any one error can affect the launch of a satellite through a rocket. So there are hundreds of checks, multiple number of times. Yet they know that something may go unnoticed, and one launch failed means millions of bucks gone. If you take in rupees, because I'm oriented in the rupee thing, you may be oriented with the dollar thing, whatever it is, the final number is similar. So the loss is a huge loss. Okay. And but if they are afraid of the loss, they can never launch a rocket. And if they are too overconfident that nothing is going to happen, don't worry, just go ahead. Then also they cannot launch anything, because every time there will be a failure. So they do have a goal that we will launch this satellite successfully, but they have a plan B, C, D. If this satellite goes, they have another satellite in the pipeline. So the next launch will be decided accordingly. So life is like that. It's a probability game. So it's not that we are not focused on the result, but the labeling of the result, as Dr. Papaneja said, labeling it as good or bad, or failure or success, and then interpreting and responding accordingly is where the problem lies. It is like this. You have a good morning here, maybe sunny morning, I hope so. Here we have night, okay? It's dark outside. Now, I can say, I can make a statement. It's dark outside, okay? Or I can say, it's scary dark outside. Now, this extra adjective of scary makes the thing scary. Otherwise, it is just, the fact is, it is dark. Correct? Similarly, it's sunny morning there. It's nice, beautiful, sunny morning. That is an adjective. The fact is that it is a sunny morning. Now, this adjective which we add, that can have impact on our psyche, our interpretations, and that can make us happy or unhappy. And when we say unattached, we just cut out that extra adjective which might affect us. It's not that doesn't mean we stop giving adjectives and we shun away from all adjectives and we don't enjoy things and all. No, it's not like that. But internally, we just say it is a fact. That's all. Focus on that. If you focus too much on the adjective, you have to pay the price. Similarly, the outcome of a surgery could be a dead person, a dead patient, or a fully recovered patient, or somewhere in between. That, I mean, this is the range. Death is one range, full recovery is another range, another end of the range, and somewhere in between. So the doctor, of course, aims at, focuses at that the person is fully recovered, knowing very well that patient may be dead after the surgery. That's why they get those disclaimers signed before they perform the surgery. Why do they do it? We can say it's a negative attitude. Why do you even think negative about it, that you will fail? Think you will be successful. So don't get the paper signed. No. Yes, we will think that we will be successful. Yet there is a possibility that there will be a failure, the so-called failure. The outcome may not be the way we want it. And that's why we get the paper signed. And that's how the person can perform the surgery unattached. Yes, you raised your hand. Yes, please.
So all our lives we have been conditioned. Okay, but to have that frame of mind where we would accept the results, there needs to be a conscious effort. That comes over, that has to be a conscious, very conscious effort to do that, to make sure. That was my point.
Yeah, of course. But I tell you, there could be an ecosystem, a homely atmosphere where these things a child may learn automatically, because that's how all other family members are, I mean, they are performing their actions, and there are range of results, and they do discuss, and then they say, okay, let us move ahead and let us see what next we can do about the whole thing. So in such a scenario, it comes very naturally. But if the family atmosphere is such where these things are just totally opposite, every success and every failure, the champagne, that bottle is opened. I mean, you drink when you fail, then also you drink, and when you rejoice, then also you drink. So when I am born in such an atmosphere, of course, many things I have to unlearn and then relearn. Yeah, in that way, it is true. Very true.
Can I ask a question, please?
Yeah.
In the doctor-patient scenario that you just described, the doctor can afford not to be attached, but from the
Yeah.
patient's perspective, he will be very attached to the results. He cannot want to have the failure. So it depends on the degree of attachment that you can afford not to have. So some scenarios no matter
Yeah,
how
that is true. That is true. But even the patient has to learn to be unattached to the result. And sometimes it is difficult, especially when you are already in trouble. So these things cannot be taught when you are already sick. Okay. So when you are fine, that is the time one has to learn that, yes, I do hope that I will fully recover, and that's how I am undergoing the surgery. But there is always a chance I may not come back. So I write my will, I perform certain things, and then I go.
In the West, whenever surgery is done, in the West, whenever surgery is done, under general anesthesia, you always sign that you may die. And as well as other complications are narrated out. No matter what we perform, we always say the success rate.
Right.
Always. So then the person accepts that the failure rate. Many times they say, I may be one of those 5% where it will not.
Correct. Correct.
So that's a kind of acceptance.
That's right.
It's basically, you say average, what is the success rate? Even when you teach children, you teach the same way. Suppose child drops something, you always say, well, you pick up something once in 100 times, you will drop it. But that's an opportunity to learn how to clean it. That's for that purpose.
Correct.
So that's what it is.
Even when we buy a new crockery, we know, I mean, it should last for a couple of years. But then a few cups and a few plates and a few things may get broken.
Mm-hmm.
So one is prepared for it. So that being prepared, focusing on the solution rather than the problem, that makes us unattached. And another thing is, in certain actions, I am not the beneficiary. This is what Emily said, not taking it personally. Okay, she said it in a very layperson's language, but that's how it is. I am not the beneficiary. When I perform certain actions, not all the actions, this we had discussed in previous classes, not all the actions, but at least a few actions I perform for some results, but I am not the beneficiary. That action also is where we are unattached. So unattached to the results of the action. Why? Because I am not the beneficiary. Okay, now we'll get into some difficult shloka. Rajeshji, could you please?
Today's sloka?
Yeah, today's shloka.
Okay.
This will be one of the most controversial of shlokas, but it carries the truth. So we can't run away from it. Yes, this one. Sadrisham chestate swasyaha prakriter jnanavanapi prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati. So all living creatures follow their natural tendencies. Even a wise person functions according to the natural tendencies. So what is the use of any restraint? This nobody else is saying. Lord Krishna himself is saying. Okay, but in the same breath, he says another thing. Indriyasya arthe ragadveshav vyavasthitav tayorna vashamagachet tauhi asya paripanthinam. So likes and dislikes or attraction and repulsion are rooted in all the sense objects, sense organ and sense objects. Few things we like, few things we don't like. This is a natural response. But a person should not allow himself to get swayed by them. Okay? Because they are his or her enemies. Now we have to understand both the shlokas. If you can recall, those of you who have been continuing from the beginning, we had discussed how helpless human being is. There are factors which are controlled genetically. There are factors which are controlled because of the human makeup. We have our own gut brain. We have our own endocrine system, and it functions on its own. So all these factors, really speaking, guides a person. Even the logic, the rationality is guided by these natural processes. So the person is not that free as he or she might be thinking. So it is like, we gave that example, rider and the elephant. Both are in the same person. The same person is the elephant, and the same person is also the rider on the elephant. The rider is the rational self, and the elephant is the emotional or instinctual self. But the elephant is so huge, so rider cannot always control the elephant. In fact, sometimes the rider has to go along with the way the elephant goes. Now, the same fact is reflected in this shloka. There are natural tendencies because of our own makeup. So, really speaking, you cannot totally change those natural tendencies. Actually, what you can do is only those tendencies which are in conflict with the dharma. What is the conflict with the dharma means what? Which can cause more harm to more people. such tendencies are to be redirected. The other tendencies, one continues with them and then lives the life. So even a wise person who has invested so much, okay, even that person will have certain natural tendencies. That person will have certain food habits, certain sleeping habits, certain getting up habits, certain body makeup, which is genetic in nature. So, like anybody else, only thing is those habits which are in conflict with the dharma, those things he had worked over the years and redirected them. He or she, it could be. Whereas all other things which has nothing much to do with, which are not in conflict with the dharma, they continue as they are. And that's how the wise person also lives. So the focus of this shloka is that we try to understand our natural tendencies and mold our life accordingly. Only those natural tendencies which are in conflict with the dharma, that also means then what is dharma? We had discussed that in detail in one of the classes. What is dharma? So one has to learn what is dharma and understand which tendencies are in conflict with the dharma. And only those ones one has to modify. The rest one can continue as it is. Yes, somebody has raised a hand. Could you please say out what you want to say?
I don't see that.
I saw it.
Okay.
Okay, fine. Okay. So there are tendencies, there are likes and dislikes. And if the likes and dislikes, if I like something, suppose I like to help people, that is my liking. And helping people is not against the dharma. So I go along with my liking. Or certain things I dislike. I don't like to consume addictive substances. So that is my dislike. Again, it is in keeping with the dharma. I have no problem. I go along with my likes and dislikes. But there may be times where my likes are against the dharma. I may like to not help people, be little selfish, and just say that I'm least bothered, don't disturb me. Whereas the other person definitely needs my help. So that dislike of that person or dislike of that situation is going against the dharma. Even at times we face it. We are driving down and we find some person has met with an accident. And of course, in India, it is less, it happens lesser because more people crowd around that person. More help comes than what is needed. In fact, the person gets choked. But there are times when nobody is there to help. Everybody is passing by because either they are in a hurry or they don't want to get into a trouble or whatever may be the reason. And so that person needs help, but nobody is there to help. So such acts are not in keeping with the dharma, and one has to work on them. Okay. So likes and dislikes naturally happen. I like few things, I dislike few things, fine. But if they are not in keeping with the dharma, then I have to work upon it. I have to modify it. But if it is in keeping with the dharma, then I need not do anything about it. So then again, it raises the question, then what is dharma? Okay. Well, what is dharma is a huge subject, and it's a huge learning. It's a constant learning. And we dedicated one of the classes, portions of the Taittiriya Upanishad, which defines, or which rather indicates, what is dharma and what is not dharma. So if anybody is interested in that, maybe they can look into that particular class, which will help us. Okay. So naturally, there are tendencies. Based on those tendencies, a person chooses one's life. And if the profession of a person is also chosen as per the natural tendencies, then the problems are less. If I have a quality, I have certain leadership qualities, I am a dominant person, okay, then I have to choose a profession where I can show my dominance, show my leadership qualities, show my leading qualities among people. And if I choose some other profession which doesn't give prominence to these tendencies of mine, then what will happen? I will be unhappy. Not only I will be unhappy, I will not be doing things well. So the profession has to be chosen as per one's natural tendencies. And that natural tendency, one has to map oneself within before choosing a profession, before choosing what I need to do in my life. And many times, most of the times we do it, we naturally get inclined to a particular profession based on, like there are people, like in childhood itself, they decide, I will join the defense forces. I want to fight. I like that kind of a life. They get attracted towards it and they go for it. There are others who say, I would like to be a banker. I like that job. They become bankers. There are others who want to become doctors, engineers, whatever. Okay. But then there are others who are undecided. And when they are undecided, or in India, it happens all the time, the parents force upon the child that you choose this profession. Why? Because this profession will give you a lot of money. Child may be interested, may not be interested, goes into it and then drops halfway, or even if the child completes the education of that particular profession, enters into it, is dissatisfied. And then after many years, things may change. Then also the person drops out. So one's own natural tendencies, one has to map, one has to understand, and based on that, one takes up assignments, professions, even one chooses, just as we choose our life partners, okay, based on certain requirements. I have my own tendencies. The other person also has certain tendencies, and when they match, I get attracted. So similarly, we choose our assignments, our professions, lifestyles as per our own natural tendencies. Why Bhagavan Krishna was saying these things to Arjuna? Because Arjuna wanted to run away from the battlefield and wanted to live like a hermit, a sannyasi, a monk, who is unattached and who doesn't want anything from this world. And Lord Krishna says, well, that is not going to work. Because all throughout your life, you have been accumulating weapons, you have been fighting, you have been winning battles, and you take pride in it. And suddenly you think you can change your life. That's not going to happen. So fighting is natural to you. Fighting for justice is natural to you. And because of certain emotions, temporary emotions, seeing your teachers, your gurus, and your great-grandfather, your mind has changed. That is not going to last for long. So if you decide to lead a life of a hermit, you have been a kshatriya, a warrior, a fighter, and you want to withdraw suddenly, and you want to do away with all the things and just totally renounce the world, that's not going to happen. It will pull you out. You may be meditating somewhere in the forest. Suddenly in the meditation, what will come up? That Arjuna, you didn't do the right thing. You didn't fight for justice. You didn't fight for dharma. Those things will crop up and they will disturb you. So don't curb your natural tendency. Your natural tendency is to fight. Fine. The only thing is you direct your fight in the right direction, in keeping with the dharma, in keeping with the righteousness. And that's how Bhagavan is saying all this. And the next shloka also is a pointer to Arjuna. Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha paradharmat swanushthitat swadharme nidhanam shreyah paradharmo bhayabah. So swadharma for Arjuna was to fight the war, but due to certain emotional conditions, he wanted to switch over and give up that fighting dharma and change the swadharma into a renounced person. And Lord Krishna says that is bhayavaha. It's very dangerous. It is fraught with fear. It's not going to work because that is not you. What is not you? If you wear the skin of a leopard and inside you are a cow, that's not going to work. You don't become a leopard. You still remain a cow. So a temporary emotional setback or emotional conditioning doesn't wipe out years of emotional makeup which a person naturally enjoys. This is what is being said in these shlokas. And when we understand them in that context, then these shlokas become less controversial. Otherwise, on the face of it, it is so controversial. It says, well, everybody goes as per natural tendencies. You follow your heart, nothing you can do. Anyway, you can't do anything. Even Lord Krishna said you can't do anything. So continue doing what you want to do. So a terrorist remains a terrorist, no reformation possible. And a lazy person remains a lazy person. A criminal remains a criminal. Nothing one can do and nothing one needs to do. Then there is no purpose of any teaching, any learning, or any discussion, because nothing one can do, nothing one can change. So that's not the point. The point is, most of it we can't do, we can't change. Only a small, crucial portion we can change, and that is what is necessary, and that is where all the teaching helps. Okay. So with this, we stop here. Again, we open the session for question and answers. Videos on, please. So even though these shlokas were for Arjuna mainly, but then they carry certain truth and it is applicable to us. That the basic nature of a person cannot be changed. What can be changed is few tweakings, the gray areas where the tendencies are in conflict with the dharma. Okay. So any questions, any comments? So what is dharma? What is dharma? Can anybody say something? What is dharma? Those rules, those behavior which brings more good to more number of people and less damage to less number of people is what is called dharma. That which sustains is dharma. Satyam vada, dharmam chara, swadhyayaan ma pramadaha, etc., etc. So dharma itself is a learning. Yeah. Dharma, the topic of dharma is so vast that one cannot afford to miss it. One has to learn about it. And it is important. And that is why I request you that one particular video, maybe we can share the link again on the WhatsApp group, because that will require a repetition for many people, that talks about what is dharma. Okay, even though learning dharma is a lifetime job, but one still needs to get a glimpse of it, and then one knows few things are very basic. Okay, those come naturally within us, that one need not cheat at somebody, one should avoid cheating, one should avoid misguiding people, committing fraud. So most of the local laws, okay, rule of law, whatever locally we know what is right and wrong, most of it comes within dharma. But dharma is even more than that. So violating the local law is violating dharma. Okay? But the local laws are a subset of the word dharma. Dharma is more than just negotiating with the local laws. Local laws will have flaws. Okay? There will be loopholes. And if you know how to plug the loophole, one can get around it. But dharma is much bigger because it involves not cheating. Okay? Not cheating anybody, not harming anybody without any reason. These are the basic principles of dharma. And much more than that. Even one's own well-being, other people's well-being, they become part of dharma. One's duties are also within the ambit of dharma. Dharma is not a passive thing. I didn't do anything wrong, so I am within dharma. No. Sometimes not doing also is adharma. So all certain omissions, certain commissions, they may go against dharma. We think not doing something cannot be wrong. Correct? Doing something wrong is wrong. But if I don't do anything, I am a passive person. I am within my home, within my house, and whatever is happening in the neighborhood, I don't care. So I didn't commit anything wrong. So I am within dharma. No, dharma is more than that. Because in certain areas, certain cases, you have to do things. And if you don't do it, then you are on the side of adharma. And that is what the famous example of Mahabharata. In the entire court, when Draupadi was disrobed, disrobing was done by a few handful of people. Okay, so definitely they were doing wrong. They were on the side of adharma. But there were many other people who were not taking part in it, and they were silent. But by the definition of dharma, they were on the side of adharma. Why? Because they didn't do anything what they were supposed to do. Did you understand what dharma can mean? Even not doing can be violation of dharma. And of course, doing wrong things is definitely violation of dharma, which most of us know. But not doing things, being passive, could be also violation of dharma. So that is why knowing dharma, being aware of dharma, discussions about dharma becomes so very important. Okay, any other question, any comments? Otherwise, we stop here.
Recently, you asked the one question on the WhatsApp. You want to read that again, or Acharya ji, you want to?
I have, well, I had a surprise on that, in the sense, I have already noted it down, and I have worked upon it. So I want to keep it as a suspense for some time. Yeah, really. More than this, if I reveal, then the suspense is gone.
Okay.
But
No,
it
but
will
we
be
are all
answered.
encouraged to
It
ask
will
the
be
question on the
answered within a
WhatsApp.
month. Within a month, it will be answered.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, we stop here.
Thank you.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Are we meeting next time, or is it a
I think it's up to
long?
us. It is
Okay.
a long weekend, but if everybody is okay, we are fine. We'll decide that. Actually.
Okay, fine. Right. Thank you.